Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned before, I'm your host, Dave Schechter, and today we're going to take a look at all of the wonderful and free features that Investing.com offers so you can become a smarter investor. Today we're going to go through the free things. We're going to highlight one thing that you can start with to make your experience great, and we're also going to give you a sneak peek under the hood of Investing Pro. So without further ado, let's get started. So what you see here in front of you is here, I'm just gonna go ahead and enlarge this so that everybody can see my screen a little bit better. So what you see here in front of you is the Investing.com homepage. For me personally, this is a hub where I'm able to come in every day and catch up on all the latest news and analysis that's been happening around the world. Little background on Investing.com, we provide coverage of most global financial markets. If you go to the top right corner of the screen here, you'll be able to get a drop down and you can zero in on the local markets that are important to you. For me, personally, that is the US market, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So in the top portion of the homepage, you have the news. If you scroll down a little bit more, you're able to get a quick overview of what's happening in different markets, different indices. You can filter for trending stocks, most active, top gainers, ETFs, bonds, just a really good place to come get a quick overview of what's happening around the world. If you continue to scroll down the page, you'll be able to see the calendars. We have economic and earnings calendars available for you. We're gonna touch upon this a little bit more in depth in just a little bit. Here is a category of the most undervalued and overvalued stocks. This is a feature that's only available for Investing Pro. And more towards the bottom, you have analysis and opinions and world indices and other really interesting information. So why don't we begin our journey with the calendar. So you can find the calendar in the top portion of the screen over here. We're just going to go ahead and click on it. So once here, I have the ability to toggle through a few different types of calendars. The first calendar is the economic calendar, holidays, earnings, dividends, splits, IPO, expirations. I'm able to view this yesterday, today, tomorrow, this week, next week, or select any date that I wish. So we're still in earnings season, and so what would be interesting for me to know is what's happening tomorrow, but also what will be happening maybe next week. So as I mentioned before, I'm specifically focused on the US markets. So why don't we take a look at the US market itself? I'll just actually search for it over here. Or I'll just scroll down. Here, just go ahead and focus on the United States. I see it's already pre-selected here, so that's all right. And also over here, I have the ability to filter for specific categories, whether that's employment, credit balance. I can filter by importance as well. So why don't we take a look at all of the important earnings. Sorry, apologize, I was on the economic calendar. So we're going to switch over to earnings. So we see today that Cisco is reporting earnings. Let's just quickly check our filter and make sure that we're still, yep, we're still on the important ones. So we can go ahead and we can close that. Let's take a look at tomorrow, who might be reporting earnings. I can see that Walt Disney is reporting earnings. Take a quick look at next week. We see Walmart and Lowe's. We have Nvidia that's coming up on the 20th. So I'm particularly interested in Nvidia's earnings report. So I would want to set an alert in order to know when the earnings calls have come in. So I can do that by clicking on the create alert bell icon here to the right. I can choose to select the different types of alerts that I want. In this case, it's going to be earnings. I can do it just for this upcoming release or for all future releases. And then I'll just go ahead and create it. I can then go to manage my alerts over here, but I can also click on the alerts I can go to the alerts center by hovering over my profile icon. And from there, I can see all different types of alerts, instrument alerts, earnings alerts. We're gonna show you how you can set alerts for instruments in just a little bit when we review the equity page, but I wanted to show you guys where you're able to see this in your settings right now. I can turn it off, turn it on. I can make any other actions. Let's say I want to send a reminder one trading day before. Let's do it. I'd like to lower my noise to signal ratio. So the closer I can time these alerts, the better, because there's a lot of information available here on Investing.com. Great. So now that we've understood how to find the economic calendar and to set the alerts, why don't we go ahead and check out another really cool feature, the screener. So we can find the screener in the top navigation bar here. Let's just go ahead and click on it. Okay, so what you see here in front of you is the screener. Something that's really important to know is that you have the ability, you have the ability to select predefined screeners based off of a number of different styles of investing, different types of investing, different methods of investing. But you also have the ability to dial in these features according to metrics that are important for your investing. So why don't we just do a quick simulation? So let's say that I'm looking for stocks that are large caps that are undervalued according to analyst targets. Let's say that I want a low PE ratio, I want a favorable PEG ratio, and a low EV to EBITDA. Say I want to have positive EPS growth over the next quarter. And let's say I want to also select positive return on invested capital. So before I added all of these filters, you'll notice that right now the screener has found 3 stocks that fit all of this criteria. So let's say I reset all of this. In this universe of US-based equities, again, I can filter for any local market. But in this universe of US stocks, I have 9,391 possible stocks inside our screener pool. So let's go ahead and add the same filters that I added just before. Favorable, EPS growth will be positive. We're looking for return on investment capital as being positive. Believe that that was it. And now, out of that universe of 9,300 and some odd stocks, I now have 25 stocks that fit this criteria. Great. So what's the next step here? The next step here for us would be to do our due diligence on this screen of stocks that we have just filtered for. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at Arch Capital. Okay, so out of the gate, I am on the equity page, and this is the general overview for Arch Capital Group. So as I scroll down the page, I have the ability to look at the price performance over a bunch of different timeframes. I can do 1 day, 1 week, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 5 hours. There's a ton of trading information available for free on Investing.com. On the right side of the screen, I have the company health that is part of the Investing Pro feature set. But what is available for free is the technical analysis. So why don't we go ahead and open that up? I can see the analyst sentiment currently is a buy. The price target is $122. Currently, it's trading at $101. So there is about 20% upside here. So that looks pretty attractive. Let's go ahead and take a look at the technical analysis. Again, I can look across a number of different timeframes, which can help inform my buying or selling decisions. I have a number of different technical indicators here, a number of different moving averages, pivot points, really deep data set available absolutely free for you guys. Another interesting aspect of the equity page is I'm able to take a look at what Investing.com members' sentiment is towards this stock. So make a very quick disclaimer here. I have no position in Arch Capital. I'm not bearish or bullish, but let's say I am bullish. I can now see that member sentiment is 100% bullish on this stock. I'm going to show you guys in just a little bit how you can see a list of all the sentiments that have been left by Investing.com members. Directly below this, we have pro tips. Part of the data that we offer free to Investing.com members are pro tips. We give you guys one pro tip. And here we see that 9 analysts have revised their earnings downwards for the upcoming period. So that might be something that I might want to keep in mind if I do want to continue exploring this particular stock. So directly below that top portion of the screen, we have all of this data, PE ratios, return on equity. Some of it is paywalled by Investing Pro. This meaning this information is only available to Investing Pro. But as you can see, the majority of it is available for free to you. Below that, we have news and analysis. I have a profile so I can understand what the company does, the industry sector, number of employees, some quick data points where I can also read a full SWOT analysis, which is really, really nice. I can also compare Arch Capital to its peers in its sector. They have dividend information as well. I personally am a fan of this segment, which is people also watch. Essentially, we take a look at the stocks that people have inside their watch lists, people that are currently following Arch Capital. So we take a look at the other stocks that people are following. And for me personally, this is a really good idea generation segment. So these might be stocks that are similar to Arch Capital. These might be stocks that are antithetical to Arch Capital. So it really is just a nice jumping point to have for stock idea generation. Okay, so remember how I mentioned about the member sentiment? So I want to jump really quickly to that and show you guys what that looks like. So if you click on the forum tab, you'll notice that there's 3 subtabs here: discussion, recent sentiment, and user rankings. Here we can see all of the discussion that is happening around Arch Capital. We can take a look at the sentiments that people have left. See, I just left mine right over here. I left a bullish rating, but as you can see, the large majority of people that have left a sentiment here. You can also see the date that they left them. Oh, sorry about that, guys. The pop-up got me. And we can see the change that has happened to the stock since the sentiment here was left. You have a bunch of different time frames: last week, all sentiments, last 3 days. And then we have the user rankings. So essentially all the people that have left their sentiment towards the stock, we can see how they have performed since leaving their sentiment. Again, this is the social aspect to due diligence, which I'm a fan of, because you have the technicals, you have the analysis, and I'm always interested in hearing what other people's opinions are about stocks. Great. So moving on, we have other information that's available free for you guys. Just dig into the financials really quickly just to show you what that looks like. You have the income statement, the balance sheet, cash flow ratios, dividends and earnings, I believe, are paywalled, so you'll have to have a subscription to Investing Pro in order to view those segments of information. But again, there's a lot of free info available here for you, so I advise you guys to dig in and enjoy. Great. So let's jump back to the overview page. Let's say I've decided that this is a stock that I want to continue following. So what I'll do is that I'll add to watch list. It's been added to my watch list. Okay, great. I can also choose to set an alert directly from the equity overview page. I can choose price change, I can choose price, change, volume, earnings, moves up or down or below. There's a lot of flexibility here when it comes to setting these alerts. So you can really lower your noise to signal ratio and dial in the alerts according to your preferences. So we added it to the watch list. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the watch list itself. So we can find the watch list in the top left corner of the screen here, and we see that it's been added to this watch list. Great. So if I want to, so before I get into that, inside your watch list, you have a bunch of information. You have fundamental, you have technical information, you have performance, and you have candlestick patterns as well. And if you click on the right, if you click on the icon over here, you'll get a breakdown of what this particular candle pattern is. Directly below that, you have watch list news. In the spirit of trying to lower your noise to signal ratio, the news and analysis that you see below will be formatted for the stocks that you have inside your watch list. So if you're looking for concise news and updates about the stocks that are important to you, this is the place I suggest you go ahead and review this feed. Great. So let's say that let's say that I'm an active trader and I actually have holdings and I'm buying and selling. How might I be able to record that through Investing.com? So I'll go ahead and I'll click on create a new portfolio. I'll select holdings. Let's call this kids college fund. And create it. Great. Let's go ahead and let's say I'm a generous dad and I want to buy them shares in Apple. So I'll go ahead and I'll select Apple from the list. Let's say I bought it today. I have the current price right now. Let's say I bought them 5 shares. Let's say my commission on this trade was $8. You guys can tell me if I'm overpaying on my commissions. Let's go ahead and let's add the position. Great. And now it's been successfully uploaded. I have tabs here that I can track the performance since my trade. I have charts, I have statistics. If I add more positions, then I'll be able to get a readout of asset allocation, monthly P&L. There's a lot of free tools that you guys can use here without ever having to pay a dime, which is really nice. Great. So now that we've covered some of the amazing free tools that are available to you, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the information that is available with an Investing Pro subscription. Okay, so this is the watch list view. Looks like I'm logged into the wrong account, so I'll apologize for the technical difficulty. Please allow me to log into my account really quickly. Great, so we're gonna go back to the watch list. Cool. So under this account, I've added some stocks in order to give you a better visualization of the information that you can receive out of the box. A big selling point, a big part of the value for me personally with Investing Pro is getting all of this information that's available for free condensed into easily digestible bites that I can then take action on. So as opposed to having to dig into all this data and create models in order to understand, am I getting a good, is this the right time to get in on a stock? Is this stock's health good? Is it good for the long term? Are there any headwinds that I should be aware of? So you can get a good sense soon of the stock, you can get a good sense of the health and the opportunities of the stocks that are in your watch list by subscribing to Investing Pro. So out of the box with the market view, all four of these tabs, which we're going to dig into them in a little bit, all four of these are available to everyone. They come standard. So the Apple stock that I bought, let's say I can see from a fair value perspective that there currently is a 20% downside. I can see that the overall health of Apple is generally good. And then I have the ability to itemize all of this information as well. We're going to dig into what fair value is. We're going to dig into all of these different labels in just a moment. But for the time being, I want to be able to show you just on a high level what you're able to see and have it easily surfaced for you. So we can see that the overall health label for Apple is good, the cash flow is good, the growth health label is good, profit is excellent, relative value is a little bit weak, price momentum is good. So in general, we can see that the stock is doing okay. If I want to be able to filter, let's say that I have a lot of stocks inside any particular watch list, and I only want to be able to surface a specific label, I simply just go to the text box and let's say I want to search for all of the excellent rated cash flow health label. So I can do this by typing in the rating inside over here. Great. Let's say that I want to take a look at the dividend performance of all the stocks in this watch list. So the way that I would do that is I would add a view. Let's call this dividend lens. Go ahead and create it. Now, once it's created, I'm now going to add in all the metrics related to dividends that are important to me. So let's take a look at what might be important. Now, there's a lot of information here, some of which I have no idea what it is. It's really, and if you're like me that you don't know every single metric under the sun, then we have these information icons you can just hover over, you can understand what the chowder rule number is, and see if it's relevant for your investing needs. So for me personally, I want to add in dividend growth streak, dividend payment streak. Let's add in the average dividend yield over the past 5 years. The dividend coverage ratio, which basically means that they have enough cash on hand to continue paying this dividend. The cash amount of the last dividend. And I think that's enough for our needs right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save my changes. So now I can see that Apple, they have been paying this dividend for the past 13 years. The dividend payment streak, the dividend growth streak has been ongoing for the past 13 years. The dividend payment streak is 13 years. Average dividend yield of the past 5 years is 7%. The dividend coverage ratio is 7.8x, which basically means they have 7 times the amount of cash on hand in order to continue paying this dividend. So that's really good. Basically, you want a minimum of a multiple of 2. Otherwise, you're getting into interesting territory. And this is the cash amount of the last dividend. So the cool part about this is that once I create a view, it automatically gets added to the screener. So I don't have to do twice the work. The second I create one, it automatically gets transplanted into other areas of the website, specifically the screener. So that's really, really, really nice. Great. So while we're on the screener page, I just wanted to show you that you have the ability to select screeners, predefined screeners as well, just like we did on the other equity, on the other screener on the Investing.com site. You can click on analysis here. We need to save the screener first, so why don't we go ahead and actually create a screener. select my filters. Yeah, let's just do something simple. Call it blah. I can now get analysis on this particular screener. I have ranking tables, I have sector breakdowns, price performance history, the works. It's really, 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 really nice. Cool. So why don't we focus on some of the more important features of Investing Pro? And namely, this is ProPicks AI. So what is ProPicks AI? ProPicks AI strategies are created by using a mix of AI and our in-house analysts in order to create strategies that outperform the S&P 500. So these are thematic. We see here on the main ProPicks page, we have Tech Titans, beat the S&P 500, dominate the Dow, top value stocks, mid-cap movers, and best of Buffett. So why don't we dig into top value stocks for today? So on the overview page, I'm able to see the performance versus the benchmark. We see that since this strategy was created, back-tested to 2013, we see that it's outperformed by roughly about 935%. The annualized return is 23% with a medium risk. Apologize. Directly below that, we have the list of stocks that were added for the month of November and the list of stocks that were removed. These strategies are rebalanced every single month on the first trading day of the month. So that way we lose the losers and we add in stocks that we believe have a lot of upside to them. So if I wanted to toggle through the different months and see what was added in September and what was removed in September, all I need to do is just select the month over here and I can easily see what was added and what was removed. I have quick links to see the overview of the financials, the dividends, the earnings, which we're going to touch on in a little bit. As the setup of the equity page is very different in the Investing Pro environment than it is on the regular Investing.com free experience. Okay. Further down the page, I have the stocks spotlight. I can toggle this for outperformers, underperformers, and the new additions. If I click on any of these icons, I then to the right have the pro tips that are generated. I have the price that the stock was added at. Just some quick information. It gives you the profile of the company, tells you that it's in consumer staples, and then directly below that I have curated news and analysis for that stock that was added that I selected here. So very convenient, lowers my noise to signal, makes everything concise in the busy world that we live in today. Below that is a quick description of what the strategy details are and how to use the picks. So what's really nice about this is that some of our Investing Pro members have mentioned to us that at the beginning of the month, they simply copy the watch list. Some of them make entry-level positions in them in order to see how things go. So if you wanted to just go ahead and copy the watch list in its entirety, you could go ahead and do that right now. And boom, there it is. And as I mentioned before, you get, based on all of these different views that you have all this information baked in directly to it. So not only do you get the strategy list that's rebalanced for you, that's produced by AI and our expert in-house analysts, but you also are then able to do your own due diligence and have all of that due diligence concise and prepackaged for you directly via your watch list in the Investing Pro environment. So for example, if I wanted to view the dividend information for the stocks that are in the top value stock strategy for this month, I'd be able to do this. So just a little bit of setup work at the beginning, but once it's already set up, you have it in your screener, you have the ability to do it for the Pro Picks as well. So it's a really, really, really nice feature. Great, so let's go back to the Pro Picks for a second, and why don't we take a look at one of the stocks that is for this month. So if I wanted to take a look at the current portfolio, as we mentioned before, down here is a list of all the stocks that were added and the list that were removed. But what about the stocks that stayed on the list? So if I want to view the strategy in its entirety, I would just click on the portfolio and I would be able to see that. I would be able to see that right over here. Another interesting thing that I'd like to highlight for you is all of these column headers are customizable. So if I wanted to take a look at all of the fair value label for Investing Pro across all of these stocks inside this strategy, all I need to do is just click on them and it will sort high to low, low to high, and you can see the direction of the arrow, how the sorting is. So let's say I want to look at all the undervalued stocks, or I can also do this for the actual upside itself. Let's take a look at Occidental. And what you see here right now is the equity page that's inside the Investing Pro environment. So to the left, we have the current price, we have the day change, the 52-week range, and then we have the fair value estimation. So what is fair value? So fair value is our analysis across 14 different models that you can find over here that will give you a very concise and quick view of what we believe the intrinsic value of the stock is based on the company's book of business currently. So we see that the spread here over the past 52 weeks of trading is $42 and $82. The average right now is $61. And according to our calculations, based off of these 14 different models, we've come up with the fact that there is a 26% upside and an average of $61. So right now the stock is trading at $48. We believe, based on our fair value estimation, that the stock really is worth $61 and that there's 26% upside, okay? Further down the page, you have the company profile. You can see quickly that it's in the energy sector. We can see what Occidental Petroleum does. I have their latest report. I have their next earnings. So they actually just had earnings yesterday. I have all the filings here available at my fingertips. And remember how we touched on the pro tips where you only get one if you're a free Investing.com member? Well, you have a lot more available to you when you are an Investing Pro member. So if I want to go ahead and drill down into any one of these particular pro tips in order to understand why this flag is the way that it is. So let's take a look at analysts predict the company will be profitable this year. So why is this important? So you have an explanation as to why this might be something that's important to the company. We also provide peer benchmarks as well. So how Occidental is performing in relation to the peer average and also in relation to other companies, historical trends, income. There's just a ton of data here. So as opposed to you having to sift through all of this and also learn what all these metrics mean, you could just get a subscription to Investing Pro and have all of these pro tips surface directly for you. So the other thing that I like to surface for you is the financial health. So along with the fair value, you also want to make sure that as part of your due diligence, you're looking at the company health across a number of different parameters. So we have the average performance here, which is a 3. We can see that the label that's been given for the cash health flow is 3, the growth is 2, price momentum is a 3, so on and so forth. But let's say I want to understand what goes into that label system. So we try as much as we can not to have a black box labeling system, and we try to provide as much data as we can so that you guys at home can do your own due diligence as well. So let's go ahead and click through to the health details. Here I have the financial health history across a number of different time periods. And if I click on the boxes over here, I am now able to view all of the data for this particular metric, which is cash flow health. I see the value, I see the percentile, I'm able to see the score, I can see the history if I want to. So across all of these metrics, we come up with a cash flow health score of 3 out of 5. When it comes to growth health, it's the same thing across a number of different metrics. We provide the value, we provide the percentile, we provide the history, so that way you can drill down into any metric that you like that's important to you in order to understand how we come up with that health label. Great. Okay, so why don't we go back to the overview page really quick. Here at my fingertips, I have the price history, 5 years, 1 year. I have a data explorer, which I'm going to show you guys in a little bit what that looks like. Here I have some quick metrics about the dividend yield, PE ratio, revenue, income statements, balance sheets, cash flows. I have a peer benchmark as well, value, size, growth, so on and so forth. And then all the way at the bottom, I have the news as well. So this is a really awesome hub to be able to start your due diligence process where as a starting point, at least you have the ability to have flags raised for you about any equity across the globe. And if something looks interesting to you, you can then use these flags as a starting point in order to drill down deeper as part of your due diligence process. So at the top here, you have news, you have dividend information as well, earnings, last reported earnings, EPS surprises 33%, which is really cool. You have the stock price reactions after the earnings as well. So a lot of information in order to help you in your due diligence process. Moving on to another cool ProPix feature, which is ideas. So there's a lot of other financially smarter people than myself. And at the very least, it's probably a good idea to see what they have in their portfolio. So this is the tool that will help you accomplish that. So why don't we just take the first one here, which is Warren Buffett, but of course you can search for any investment theme. Let's say I'm into tech stocks. I can choose from here. If I don't know what to search for, I can also just look at the investor type. I can choose the sector focus. So for people that are super novices that don't know what to look for, we have some out-of-the-box suggestions for you. So why don't we take a look at what is in Warren Buffett's portfolio currently, at the reporting period, the filing date, the recent filings, quarter-over-quarter value change. We see it's down 15%. We can see the holdings value, which is gargantuan. We have the price performance history over 3 years, over 5 years. Upside distribution, ranking tables, sector concentration, meaning out of all the stocks that are in this portfolio, what is the sector concentration? And we also have the filings tracker and the holding summary. Remember that I said that we create one view and it gets supplanted across multiple different areas around the website. So again, it's a really, really awesome time-saving feature that's available also on the free version of the website as well. Great. So the last thing that I want to show you is the Data Explorer. So I myself am a novice investor, or at least I consider myself a novice investor, and I don't know every metric. I don't know what the relational values are. I don't know what, again, I could just say for the sake of argument, what is a good PE ratio? Assuming that I don't know what a good PE ratio is, like how would I know that? So why don't we take a look at a random metric. Why don't we take a look at average operating cash flow for the sake of argument? I don't know if that's random, but average operating cash flow. This is the 10-year quarterly average operating cash flow margin. So the reason I'm surfacing this is because the Data Explorer is the place you want to go if you don't understand or you want to learn about different metrics that are important as part of your due diligence. And you can select any particular company. You can choose the metric for it as well, and it'll give you the analysis, fiscal year trailing, fiscal half, so on and so forth. It'll give you a definition of the PEG ratio. There's just so much data available here for you as an Investing Pro member to help you with your due diligence and hopefully make more informed investing decisions. So that concludes our walkthrough of the free tools that are available with Investing.com, and also some of the really cool time-saving tools that are available with an Investing Pro and Investing Pro Plus subscription. So right now, we have our best deal of the year for our Black Friday and Cyber Monday offers. You can save big on all Investing Pro yearly and bi-yearly plans. Go ahead and scan the QR code that's on the page right now in order to go directly to our pricing page in order to take a look at all of the amazing discounts that we have available to you guys. So I'm going to take the next 5 minutes in order to review some of the questions that might have come up during our walkthrough. And thank you guys for joining. Okay, so I see that there are a lot of questions. This is great. So I have someone that wrote here, Tai Hong. Thank you for writing this. How to find the value of the stock OKLO. All right. So I'm gonna take this down in 10 seconds so that we can address Ty's question. Okay. How to find the value of stock OKLO. So this is how you would find the value. If you have, you can see as an Investing Pro member, you have all of this information available to you right now. We can see that according to our fair value metrics, this particular stock is overvalued. And there's a downside, according to analyst sentiments, of about 32%. So you have probably about half of them of the pro tips are not favorable for this particular stock. And so I would highly recommend that you dig in to understand why that might be. Okay, let's take a look if we have any other questions. And I'll give it another minute or two in order for more questions to roll in. If there are no more questions, I would really like to know if $8 commission fees, if I'm overpaying for $8 commission fees. So if anybody wants to send me a comment about that or where I can get the best deal on commission fees, then let me know in the comments. I'm sure everybody else would like to know as well. Great. Okay. So there are no more questions. Oh wait, hold on one second. How to review today's lesson. Great. So we are going to be sending this recording of the webinar to you probably within the next couple of days. I'd love to be able to send this out tomorrow, but I can't promise that. So definitely within the next couple of days, you are going to receive the recording of this webinar, and also we're going to be uploading it to YouTube as well. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you everybody so much for joining. It was really my pleasure to be able to walk you through all of the amazing free features that are available on Investing.com, show you what's under the hood of Investing Pro, and I wish everybody success in their investing endeavors, and have a great rest of your week. Take care, everybody.